I typically try to hold on to summer for as long as I possibly can, but the one thing that gets me really excited for fall is spooky season. I love reading a good book that'll scare the living daylights out of me, and today I have a few that just might do the trick. Let's get into it. I want to start with an all-time childhood fave of mine, the Goosebumps series. There's a lot of different series and spin-offs here, but I was actually able to get my hands on the entire original series of 62 books, and the covers and titles are just as creepy as I remember them being. The first book is titled Welcome to Dead House, with the subtitle, It Will Just Kill You. The synopsis reads, Amanda and Josh think the old house they have just moved into is weird, spooky, possibly haunted, and the town of Dark Falls is pretty strange too. But their parents don't believe them. You'll get used to it, they say. Go out and make some new friends. So Amanda and Josh do, but these new friends are not exactly what the parents had in mind, because they want to be friends forever. Other creepy titles include Say Cheese and Die, Piano Lessons Can Be Murder, Don't Go to Sleep, The Blob That Ate Everyone, and let's not forget Monster Blood Parts 1, 2, 3, and 4. These books were all written by R.L. Stine, who's been called the Stephen King of children's literature. He's written hundreds of novels and have sold over 400 million copies of his books. The weirdest thing about all of this is that before he started pumping out the nightmare fuel that is Goosebumps, he served as the head writer on a children's television show called Eureka's Castle, which follows puppet characters in the style of Sesame Street, one of which is a girl named Eureka. She's a sorceress in training, and she and her friends live in a wind-up castle music box owned by a friendly giant. The show ran for about 150 episodes before being canceled by Nickelodeon, and that's when Stine started writing about 2 novels a month with Goosebumps. Next on the list is Murder Book by Hilary Fitzgerald Campbell, and this is a book that I bought and it's been sitting on my shelves for a while because I kind of forgot about it. This is a graphic memoir which is said to be pretty funny, and it covers Campbell's true crime obsession. Why is it so much fun to read about death and dismemberment? In Murder Book, lifelong true crime obsessive and New Yorker cartoonist Hilary Fitzgerald Campbell tries to puzzle out the answer. Funny, thoughtful, and highly personal, this is an unconventional graphic exploration of a lifetime of Anne Rule's superfandom, amateur armchair sleuthing, and a deep dive into the high-profile murders that have fascinated the author for decades, with a focus on the often overlooked victims of notorious killers. I also love the author's bio. It reads, Hilary Fitzgerald Campbell is a cartoonist and comedian who has illustrated books such as Feminist Fight Club and Are You My Uber? She lives in Brooklyn with her dog and her vast collection of Law & Order DVDs. I never really got into the true crime craze, but after flipping through the book a bit, I tend to be pretty curious about a lot of the same things that she explores in this book, so I think this might be my gateway into that world. I love the illustration style in this book too. It's very expressive and very effective, especially since it's all in black and white. Third on the list is Who Killed Buster Sparkle, which I'll admit I bought mostly because of the title and the cover. It's the debut novel by John Bateman, and the synopsis reads, Who Killed Buster Sparkle threads together dialogue on race, gender, orientation, and economics, showing oppression exists in many forms. Bateman masters the comic and gothic through 2 characters who need each other more than they understand. I don't think that does a very good job at giving you any idea of what this book is about, but a drag queen named Peaches meets Buster, who is a Mississippi ghost with partial amnesia. Questions of the past, the present, and the future arise, but Buster attempts to come to terms with who he was and who he is in the presence of Peaches, whose gender fluid identity really confuses him. He doesn't really want to be associated with Peaches, but Buster realizes that he's got to push aside his biases in order to avoid eternal loneliness. This book is a really clever way to explore the underrepresented perspectives on sexuality and race in Mississippi, since the 2 main characters are a black ghost and a white transgender woman. I think this will be a good read because it seems to package really complex topics like loneliness, relationships, the true meaning of family, alongside the examination of identities like race, gender, and orientation in a way that's not only original but also welcoming for those that might find these topics difficult to consume otherwise. Last on the list is I Know What You've Done by Dorothy Koomson. When Ray answers her front door one afternoon, her neighbor Priscilla thrusts a book into her hands before collapsing. After Priscilla is rushed to the hospital, Ray discovers the book is actually a diary full of their neighbor's deepest secrets. Ray knows she should hand over the book to the police investigating Priscilla's attack, but she spotted her husband's name in the diary and she needs to know what he and everyone else has done. But if someone tried to kill Priscilla to keep their secret, how long before Ray is endangered too? I've not read any of Koomson's books yet, but she has 2 degrees in psychology and journalism, so I'm curious to see how that might show up in her work. I hear that her books tend to be pretty fast-paced and exciting, and the first few lines of this opens with a journal entry from Priscilla talking about how she has a sense of who's gonna kill her and she knows exactly why. When a book opens up with that level of drama, I can already tell that I'm gonna be in for a wild ride. These reads are enough to get me at least partially excited for colder temperatures and a bit more time indoors. Whether or not they'll be keeping me up all night or giving me nightmares is yet to be seen, but probably.